Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Trades Toolbox from Shake and Speare. Today we're really excited to have a special guest on, and that guest is Sarah Toon of Toon Photography. Sarah's going to give us some top tips on what photographs to take for your website, how you should stage them, and what you should avoid doing. It's really a good interview, really looking forward to speaking to Sarah, and we'll get started on that right now. And today we're going to be talking about, are photos really important for trades when it comes to their website? So first of all, hi Sarah, nice to have you aboard.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good, yes, fine, thank you.
Excellent, really good. So first of all, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, my name is Sarah Toon of Toon Photography, and I am a professional construction and architectural photographer. And I photograph anything from building sites to warehouses to multi-million pound buildings, any interiors, exteriors, everything. People for websites, whether they want just little pictures for just to show the odd thing, or whether they want to show the millions and millions of pounds they've spent on a building. But primarily I'm a construction photographer, so I spend a lot of my time on building sites.
Perfect, cool. That must be a really interesting job, being able to go around and see all of the different projects that are going on across the country.
It's wonderful. It really is wonderful, because I mean, if you work on a building site, you see it every single day. Therefore, you don't see the progression. But if I go back every month, every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks, I sort of, every time I turn up on site, I'm like, wow, look what they've done. And, I have to take that all in, followed by, right, this is my brief. I've got to do this floor, this floor, this floor, and stuff. And it is amazing to see a hole in the ground become a fabulous building at the end of it, regardless of what the building is. It's just it's a brilliant, I love my job. Yes.
Excellent, that's really good news. So today we were going to ask you to give some tips to trades just to help them work out exactly what they need for their website. So as you know, we build websites and we find that more often than not, we get some slightly dodgy photos from people's iPhones that they've taken on the snap of a whim. They're not quite straight, they're not quite sort of in focus. So we thought we'd get you to come and talk to us about what makes a good photo. So yeah, if you could explain to us, what do you think makes a really good photo?
It's just making sure that you're photographing exactly what you're trying to show. Let's pick a building, for instance. Everyone can pick a building and they can photograph a building, but they don't exactly show. It'll be on the wonk. It will be, if I had a pound for every time a wonky building, there's a difference between taking a wonky building and an artistic wonk. You just need to show exactly what you're trying to portray. If you're doing like a building site, yes, it's going to be a work in progress, so it's a record shot. But again, have some content, have some other people in the shot or some plant, and concentrate on that, what you need to show, as opposed to the lunch boxes in the foreground or the mess in the foreground, or again with like buildings, make sure that at the end of it, that it's really important, because people spent millions and millions and millions of pounds or hundreds of pounds on having these things built, and to have a professional photographer come in and take a photograph of it is worth that money, as opposed to taking it on an iPhone. And you can really tell the difference. It's really for websites and things, at the end of the day, you're selling your product. You have built this building, you have supplied the bricks, you have supplied the roof, you have whatever you've supplied. But if your images on your website look as if someone's just stood there and gone click, it will show. It really does show, and I do see a lot of that.
So it's a way of making sure that you give it the time that it's worth to actually portray all that effort that you've gone in to make that work. Because
Yeah.
you've gone to the effort, you've got the perfect supplies, you've built this beautiful thing, and then actually if you just then snap it, you're doing yourself a disservice.
You're not doing yourself a disservice, you're doing the building a disservice, I think. And even if you supplied the cladding and you want to photograph the cladding, at least do it with a little bit of so it's not blurry, or you've got a little bit of an artistic, to show it in its perfect light, not just to sort of stand there and send somebody out with a phone. I mean, I see an awful lot these days with, unfortunately, people can take them on their phones, and yes, they are fantastic, but have you got the eye for the photography of it? Can you see the essence of the building as opposed to just taking the snap? And that's where the difference, I think, is between taking a photo on your phone or actually using someone who does it as a profession, like myself. There is a difference, and people like myself, you can tell. You know, and if you've spent money on your website and you spent all this time and effort going in, but your images just don't match the rest of the content, it will show, and it does, unfortunately, and I see a lot of that.
Okay, so let's say you're a heating engineer and you have just finished a job and you want to take a picture of your work so that you can put it up on your website and show prospective clients, or show people who have worked with you in the past, show them what you've done. What are the things that these guys should avoid doing? What should people avoid doing?
Getting in your own light. There's nothing worse than you see someone has spent a couple of grand on having a brand new heating system put in. The tradesman's really proud what he's doing. He's trying to show and portray what he's doing. He takes the shot and you can see his own shadow. Best things to do is turn the light on, get a torch, take the time, actually look at it in your phone, take a little bit of time and effort. And again, with all phones, they all come with editing. Regardless of what your phone, whether you've got an Apple or a Samsung, they all got a very basic editing suite. So just lighten the shadows a little bit, move the lunch boxes out of the way, move the tools and the rubbish, because nobody wants to see that. Make it look clean and presentable, make it look straight. That's the main thing. I know, because I know when I work in confined spaces, it's so difficult and so hard. So if you've spent time and effort putting a whole load of pipe work in, concentrate on the pipe work. We don't want to see the boiler at the side. We don't want to concentrate on the pipe work, concentrate on what you've done, zooming in or doing it in the editing, and it will really look so much better.
Excellent. So really focusing on the highlight of what you've actually delivered and what you've done. Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things which I've noticed is that in terms of getting the right light as well, you can quite often tap on the screen, can't you? You
can tap on the screen, and then I can't talk because my light is terrible here today, but the best thing to do is, on any phone, you can change the focus of your light. You can also change the focus on your phone. Phones will automatically go straight to the center. So if you just tap your phone in different corners, it will go lighter, darker. Just play around with it first, especially if you are in a dark corner or you're in a basement or in a cupboard. Just keep tapping it until you get to the right, you think, oh, actually, that looks really good. Because if you use your flash on your phone, you will get flare. And then the last thing you want to do is have this, you've finally got it right, you put your light, don't try not to use the flash if you can avoid it. Just get someone to hold a torch or pop a light on or something, and you really will see the difference. Really will see the difference.
Excellent. I mean, and we find from our point of view, when people go to the effort of putting up these higher quality photos on their websites and in their galleries, customers especially, react far better to it, because they can see that you've taken the time to take quality images, which sort of then is a portrayal of your work as well.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you want a tradesman, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to Google them. You're going to look for the Facebook page. You're going to see if they've got a website. And if it's hard to say that someone is unprofessional, but if your images at the end of the day portray the fact that you have taken that little extra time at the end of the day to take those just little bit nicer pictures and things, it really does show, because it's all about trust, and everyone Googles, everyone looks at Facebook and websites and and social media, and everyone's governed by images these days. Everything's governed by images. So if you think, actually, that looks really professional, it looks really good, and it's really, you know, it's fundamental, I think, at the end of the day, that you have decent images.
Cool. So in terms of getting that right picture, so we've already said things like making sure you've got the right light, not standing in your own light, making sure you move your lunchbox and your bits and pieces out of the way so it looks nice and
I see a lot of lunchboxes.
making sure they're out of the way and sort of behind you at least. Do you have any other top tips for people taking pictures of their own work?
If you spend hours and hours and hours putting something in, spend 10, 15, 20 minutes taking a few decent photos. Don't just take the one, take them several. I'm only 5'4", so I wouldn't take a 5'4" picture. So get on the floor, lay down, get the perspective right on your phone, tip your phones up, you know, they're all, and just play around with the images and spend time afterwards doing a little bit of editing. It's all in the phones, just doing it will make the images just look so much better. You can use the clarity, you can use the definition, you can use the sharpening. It won't take long. I mean, you can sit at home and do it afterwards and then post them. Don't just take a few quick snaps and think that'll do and upload it. Just spend, you know, if a client is super happy with what you've done, be super happy and be proud of what you've done. Because at the end of the day, you've done this, or whoever's installed it, whether it's a boiler man or electrician or anything. Just take that little bit of extra time just to get those images right, and they will look perfect. They'll look fantastic.
Awesome, really cool. So, I mean, and obviously, if you have the resources to do so, then it's well worth getting some professional advice or getting professionals to have a look at taking some pictures for you, of course.
It is. Yeah, I mean, after, you know, the tool fair and everything, I put on Twitter that if anyone wanted to send me images, and I had quite a lot of people send me stuff actually saying, how could I have done this better? I have this bathroom and the reflections in the bathroom. You've got to look for all things. If you've just installed a brand new bathroom and it's all full of chrome, you've got to be worried about the reflections, the highlights. All of a sudden it was a nightmare. And this one chap sent me some pictures, so I showed him how to dull them down, bring the highlights down, up it. He was amazed, and I said, it took me 5 minutes, so I sent it back, and I've had boilers sent to me, I've had gas pipes sent to me, and it's wonderful to be able to give that map and just give that little tiny piece of advice on those that don't need a professional photographer like myself. But I like to give that information back to people who, because it's all about how your images look at the end of the day, and if I can help, then send me the Twitter pictures, and I'm quite happy to do it.
And you're on Twitter. I'm
at Sarah Toon Photos.
There we go.
And
you've launched a brand new website as well.
Yes, brand new website. I will share it everywhere on Monday. Yeah, it's had a bit of an issue, but it's up and running. Yeah, it looks wonderful. So yeah, look at my new website. It's all spanking new.
And people will be able to see lots of examples of really good photos on there, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, majority of it. I mean, I've done some. There's a few construction photography things on that. I've got some things that I still haven't been able to put on at the moment because they are, they're just sort of in. I've got to sort them out and pick the right ones because, as you can imagine, I take several hundred pictures when I'm on, so I want the perfect ones to go on. But yes. Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. Really, really pleased with it.
Great. So people can follow you on Twitter, connect with you on LinkedIn, have a look at your website, and come to you and ask some advice.
Yeah, I've got a Facebook page as well, which is Sarah Toon Photography, which I don't use quite as much now. I'm predominantly LinkedIn and Twitter. I do have an Instagram account, but again, I don't really put an awful lot of my work stuff on there. It's different stuff. I mean, I don't always take construction. I don't always take architectural. Yeah, I might take the odd flower now again or something. And during lockdown, I've been doing my own DIY and creative stuff. So I've been putting those on there as well. So it's all different.
Excellent. Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on today, Sarah. I've really appreciated it. and look forward to people being able to get in touch with you again in the future.
Yes, no, thank you very much. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Hopefully we'll see you at tool fairs and so on in the future when we come
out. Yeah, tool fair was amazing. I can't wait to do tool fair again. So I'm hoping they're going to be up and running again next year. Then we can see each other again at tool fair.
Excellent. Cool. Thanks very much. Speak to you soon.
No, thank you. Okay, take care. Bye.
Awesome. That was a really great interview there from Sarah Toon of Toon Photography. We really appreciated her taking the time to come on to Trades Toolbox with Shake and Speare. If you are a person who is able to share tips or knowledge with trades to help them bolster their online presence, we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to have you on board to the next edition of Trades Toolbox. Just give us a shout. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Bye bye.